Empowered Wife podcast, where it's all about fixing your marriage without your husband's conscious effort so that you feel desired, taken care of, and special, even if your marriage feels completely hopeless. I'm Laura Doyle, and today's hot topic is Ending World Divorce Update. My guests today are 8 women who once struggled in their marriages, but then used the 6 intimacy skills and the connection framework to not only make their marriages shiny, but also to become highly admired relationship coaches who help other women fix their marriages. They have cooked up something special for you, which I can't wait to share with you. You're also going to hear their inspiring marriage stories. That's coming up. But first, let's get to this update on ending world divorce. That is the mission that I'm on, to end world divorce. And let's face it, you are now too. I drafted you into the mission because, first of all, I have a feeling you share the same values, that marriage is important and that having a strong marriage matters and is worth learning about and focusing on. I don't think we'd be hanging out together right now if you didn't feel that way too. Now, imagine how great it will be when the social norm is that couples stay together. I don't mean they suck it up and stay together in separate rooms like awkward roommates just until the kids grow up. No, I mean, they stay together because there's a culture that when you're going through a rough time, feeling lonely, when you're feeling discouraged or unloved, there is also a stand for you that the two of you will make it through that rough time and get to the good times. Like when you get sick, most people are like, I hope you feel better soon, right? They don't say, have you thought about getting your will together? No, people are rooting for you to get healthy. They are rooting for you to live. Even if you're temporarily miserable, they believe that things will get better. But for some reason, when you tell people how sick you are of your husband's drinking or his narcissism or of him yelling at the kids or flirting with other women, there's this refrain that you hear a lot of, well, you deserve better and you should leave him. And that's because they don't know about the 6 intimacy skills. They don't know that there's a way to make your marriage last and thrive. Most people still just don't know about the intimacy skills. So they think that whatever painful chapter you're going through is terminal instead of temporary. Imagine how painful it would be to think your sinus infection is terminal when it turns out, just a few days of rest and plenty of fluids, and that's going to make you as good as new, right? That's a good metaphor for where I was early in my marriage, though. And now that we're laughing together and enjoying each other's company and great physical affection every day, it seems pretty clear I was just uninformed. But it was painful. It was so painful. So it drives me nuts when I hear about someone not knowing about the intimacy skills and thinking her marriage is terminal, or even maybe somebody who knows about the intimacy skills but thinks they won't work for her, or she just doesn't know how to apply them in her situation. That is why I'm so intent on making sure that every woman who wants to feel loved and adored knows about the intimacy skills and gets the right support to apply them in her marriage. Every woman, and that means you, in every country, in every language, all over the world. And one important step in that mission is to have certified coaches everywhere who are experts on the 6 intimacy skills. And all of our certified coaches are coaches because they were once struggling in their marriages in some way. And when they used the 6 intimacy skills to fix their marriage, they were able to make it shiny again. They were in the trenches with real marriages, with real challenges, and they were able to transform those marriages. And now I'm excited because some of those certified coaches are hosting the Empowered Wife Workshop in New Zealand and the Cherish for Life Weekend in Gold Coast, Australia. And it's a huge step for the mission to end world divorce because that's where they live. Those are their homes. And they're going to be serving women on that continent. And I invited those coaches onto the podcast, to this podcast, to share about how they fixed their marriages, became experts in the 6 intimacy skills. They are now certified coaches, and they're going to talk about what they've got planned for these in-person live events. That is coming up next. Something big is happening here on the Laura Doyle campus, and you are invited. Hundreds of women have become experts on the 6 intimacy skills and transformed their marriages by becoming certified Laura Doyle relationship coaches who live their purpose, have more intimacy, and earn for their families. In my free masterclass, Purpose, Prosperity, and Intimacy, How to Have All Three and Help Others Do the Same, I share directly from our popular relationship coach training and certification course about the number one most important qualification for becoming a successful relationship coach. I also reveal the indispensable first step to having a passionate, peaceful relationship and how to share it with other women. I explain about why our coaches have an unfair advantage over other relationship coaches and counselors. And I go step by step through our proven coaching curriculum and why it's so effective in saving marriages and empowering coaches. Register today for Purpose, Prosperity, and Intimacy. Have all three and help others do the same at lauradoyle.org/purpose. That's lauradoyle.org/purpose. I am so excited to introduce my special guests here today. I have with me, I have 9 amazing coaches all on this one call here, which is Coach Kathy, Coach Angela, Coach Tess, Coach Catherine, Coach Diane is here, Coach Peggy, Coach Judy, Coach Crystal, and I guess I'm the 9th coach. I have 8. I have 8 guests. Coach is with me, and we are going to tell you some exciting news, and then I'm going to actually go to Coach Catherine first. Coach Catherine, tell us what we're doing here. Why are you here? What's happening?
Oh, thank you, Laura. It's so exciting to be here and talking about this amazing, exciting opportunity that has emerged for all of us. We're bringing your incredible Empowered Wife workshop. The extended version's coming to Australia in the form of the Cherish for Life weekend.
Yay!
It's coming to Australia. And we could not be more excited. It's a dream come true, pinch me moments. It's just incredible.
And how did you get to this moment? What, you're going to be on stage leading the Cherish for Life weekend in Gold Coast. How did this happen?
Oh, well, when I think back, it's like, how did I get here? Because, just a few years ago, it felt like my marriage and the family life that was the most important thing to me was steadily coasting towards divorce. And it really felt like it was an inevitability that I couldn't do anything to avoid. And that as hard as I tried, the worth it got. It was just so frustrating and hopeless and exhausting. So to come to this point is just feels miraculous. I just felt so full of resentment, so full of frustration. I just felt like my husband was just making mistakes left, right, and center and could never get it right, and that we were failing our kids, failing our marriage, and that I had to choose between my own happiness and my family. Felt like I couldn't have both. I couldn't be in this family and create a family life that would make me happy if I stayed in my marriage. I just was so full of turmoil all the time because it was the most important thing, and it just felt like so painful that it couldn't make me happy. It was so exhausting. And then I found these incredible intimacy skills. I found your work through lots of searching, and I found you. And the moment I heard your voice, I recognized myself in your story. And I was making all of these mistakes that I had no idea about and that were costing me so much intimacy. And once I was able to realize and see what was going on and learn these skills and understand how intimacy can be created and fostered, I was able to turn my life experience around and now just feel like I'm living the life of my dreams, even when things aren't working. Maybe on the outside, things aren't looking perfect in any moment. I'm feeling so full and delighted and grateful and joyful every day with my kids and with my husband, and just feeling like I have the marriage of my dreams that always had eluded me. And so to be able to get on the stage and share these incredible secrets about intimacy that so few of us know coming into a marriage, how to really make it thrive, how to really make it safe and close and connected. So it just brings me so much joy and honor and delight to be at this incredible point in life to be able to share the power of these skills with women who might be where I was, which was in a lot of pain and feeling like there was no way out. So it's such a joy to share with you and everyone that, we're bringing this incredible weekend event where we can learn about the skills and also practice them together. And it's going to be amazing.
Fantastic. And this is the same husband you're married to that you were so resentful about and thought you couldn't be happy in this family. Same
Absolutely.
guy.
Yes, same guy, same incredible guy. And he's amazing. Bringing out his best by bringing out my best is just so fulfilling. And he's coming too. He's going to be on the man panel.
Oh my gosh. On the man panel. What tell us about the man panel. What is the man panel?
Yeah, so we get to hear from real life men, off the cuff questions, answers to any question that a woman is bringing.
So the women at the event are going to be asking the questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they can ask anything.
Anything. Go
about
for it.
Sex, even.
Yes, I intend to be blushing. Anybody. Okay. Nothing's off the table. Go for it. I can't wait to see how these guys answer, and we can learn from the male experience, which I know when I've heard my husband talk about his experience of the exact same thing that I've experienced, it's completely different to what I expected. So I'm really excited about that.
He's going to be there. The man panel is going to be unlocking some of these mysteries for us then about what goes on in their world.
Absolutely.
That'll be really cool. Well, I love it. Thank you, Coach Catherine. Thanks for putting this event on. All of you have really taken the initiative to do this. So Coach Diane, how did it get started? I mean, why is there this event happening? Why in Australia? Why now?
Well, Laura, it really started from the moment you wrote that book and started this whole beautiful, hopeful provision of the skills. And from there, I know that you used to run the Cherish for Life weekends, and now you're handing that over to us. And it started because beautiful Coach Kathy, who's been such an amazing part of my life and journey, as well as you, Laura, had the desire to come to Australia. And we all thought that was going to be for a visit. And I know on my heart, early in my coach training, I felt that there was something for Australian women. I wanted to reach Australian women to help them not experience the pain that I experienced. And I know we had talks as growing coaches, and we just felt there was something on our heart. And Kathy, following her desires and sharing her desires, has led to this beautiful development and unfolding of a Cherish for Life weekend here in Australia to reach Australian women with your skills, Laura, that have just changed my marriage, my family, in ways I could not have imagined. And how exciting for us to be able to get together and in person and share with women from all over Australia and overseas. Even I know there are women coming from overseas, the beautiful hope and the practicality of the skills that can transform any situation, any struggle, any challenge in a marriage, in a family, and bring a woman to her full. Like me, I feel like I'm living my best self, and that's what the skills have done for me, and had a flow-on effect of really bringing my family out of incredible trauma into incredible beauty. So does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Well, and so incredible trauma. What was happening in your marriage in those bad old days? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we'd had a great marriage and had beautiful children, and then my husband had an accident and completely changed from being humble, kind, loving. We were just a team, a complete team. And I remember the day clearly. It was my daughter's birthday, and I discovered that he'd emptied our bank accounts and that he didn't trust me anymore, and there was anger and control, and our lives changed from that moment, and to the point where there was so much pain and so much anger and control that my kids actually begged me to leave him. I remember the day my little 7-year-old said, "Mum, we just need to leave." I knew that man that I'd married was there somewhere, but I didn't know how to find him. We went to counsellors. I remember going to a 3-day intensive counselling session with my husband. It was absolutely exhausting, and he went quiet for most of those 3 days, and the counsellor was worried that he was never going to get it, never going to understand what he was doing. And turns out I understand now why he went. He felt criticised. He felt unsuccessful in being a husband. And I remember leaving there, and we very rarely fought, but we had a fight all the 3 hours home. It was so exhausting. And then I found your skills, Laura, after many counsellors, and started to work on me, because I knew that he'd changed, and I had my focus on helping him regain who he was. I had no clue that me stopping focusing on him and focusing on me would lead to the transformation of our marriage. It would give him the space to have his journey, and me living the skills as a happy woman, fulfilled, responsible for my own happiness, would have that flow-on effect of helping him be successful. And I just watched him soften. From that first moment, I committed 100% to the skills. That first moment, he started to soften, and I saw my husband, that beautiful man, return. And that's who we're experiencing today, the kids and I. And it's beautiful.
And so you're going to be sharing, we're hearing a very tiny version of your story, but you're going to be sharing your story. This is a very personal story from the stage at the extended Empowered Wife Workshop, the Cherish for Life weekend, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. And I can hardly believe I am. But I remember sitting in church when I was in the most pain that I'd ever been in, and feeling so alone. And I think that's what motivates me, that I don't want another woman to sit there in that desperate loneliness, feeling no hope. I want to share what the skills have done for my family, because, oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. And it's generational. You know, my children are experiencing their beautiful dad again and their beautiful, happy mum. I'm a different person because I think Catherine, you mentioned about, you know, husband not being able to do anything right. Well, I remember standing there and saying, I hate him. And I'm embarrassed about that now, but I knew I loved him deep down, but I remember saying, I hate him because there was so much pain. And so, yeah, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone to share my story, and because I want other women to know that there is hope, that things can change, and the difference of skills made in my life. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your vulnerability and your courage to be on a stage and do that, and for all that you've planned for the Cherish for Life weekend. It's remarkable, really.
Oh, thank you, Laura. And I thank you for giving me the skills and coach training and everything I've needed to be my best self. Yeah.
Love that.
Thank you.
Well, we have another cat to let out of the bag, actually. And Coach Angela, do you want to tell us about that?
Thank you, Laura. I really want to share that we in New Zealand, so the little island off Australia, in New Zealand, we're having our very first in-person Empowered Wife workshop. And I'm just so excited, and it's going to be an extended version of the workshop. If you've already done it, there's going to be a lot more beautiful sharing and stories from myself and Coach Tess, and also some other lovely coaches from America. So I'm just so excited to have this event in person with like-minded women who are all just so committed to having amazing marriages and relationships. Yeah.
So you're going to be telling your story as well. Can we get a little preview?
Yeah, thanks, Laura. I came to your book probably about 18 years ago, and my marriage was, I was so happy to get married, and I was a very educated person, but and our marriage was wonderful at the start, but then things started to go downhill when our family became blended and I had my own children. And I was just so overwhelmed. And it was really, really hard. I became a mother at about 36. So I went from being very independent to married with babies and teenagers. And I was just so overwhelmed. And all I did was yell at my husband and tell him he wasn't doing it right. And there was so much fighting, and I just felt so guilty that my stepkids had gone from a broken marriage into another marriage that was arguing and bickering. I felt guilty about that. I felt guilty that my own children were experiencing this, friction, all this friction. And so I was just one of those people that thought there must be a way out of this, there must be a way through, and looked at many things. And my husband and I went to a workshop, and it actually just made it worse. And I asked him if he would go to marriage counselling, but he wasn't really keen on marriage counselling. And I knew that he really loved me. I knew that he was committed to me. So I didn't worry too much that he didn't want to go to marriage counselling. So I just thought that I just wish there was something that I could find myself that could help our marriage, because deep down I knew that there was things I was doing, but I couldn't quite put my finger on what I was doing that was causing all this friction. Because in my mind I was trying to do everything that I thought was right, but it wasn't actually working. And miraculously one day I was reading in a magazine that a woman had read The Empowered Wife, the surrendered wife back then. And I thought, that's interesting. And I got out of the library and I was like, wow, I could relate to everything that Laura said, and started doing these skills. Wow, it was incredible. They just turned my marriage around in like 2 weeks. It was so peaceful. I felt so happy. But I just wasn't the kind of person that could sit still and give myself self-care. I really couldn't get that skill. And it took about a decade for me to actually sit down and say, you need help, you need to look after yourself. And I reached out to Laura Doyle because technology had got better. I reached out and I looked if I could get a support group, and found that I could. And then I saw that I could become a coach, and I thought, that's my calling. This is the work. This is the work. This is my calling. And so I joined as a coach, and it just completely changed my life. I became immersed with other women and being the best wife that I could be. And our marriage just became so much more peaceful. No matter what was going on, I could be dignified. I could be the best version of myself. And that was huge for me. I felt that I could be proud. And I felt proud that I could bring peace to our marriage, peace to our home, and peace for my children. And my stepkids. Yeah, no matter what's going on, I can be that peaceful person. And of course, that my husband and I just have so much more fun together. Well, we have fun, which wasn't really happening at the beginning. And we have fun. We spend time together. He wants to spend time with me, which it wasn't like that before, because I was very critical. I thought I knew better than him. I thought I was the better person in the marriage. And, being a school teacher, I knew a lot. And also I was a very independent feminist woman who was very forthright in her opinions, and I was proud of that. But in actual fact, really what I was being with my husband was very critical and condescending, and I always was giving him very helpful advice, and that did not work. That was a blind spot. I actually thought that was what being a good wife was telling him how he should live his life, and being the best. That was me being the best wife. So, which was obviously not right, because it was actually causing so much friction.
And so this became a calling, and who better to show women how to have a marriage with some fun in it than you, because that had gone missing. And you tried all these other things. It didn't really work. But now the fun is back. And it sounds like, I mean, no marriage is perfect. Even my marriage, is not perfect. But it sounds like things have gotten a lot lighter at your house.
A lot lighter, a lot more peaceful, a lot more fun. And there's nowhere near the amount of, work going on in our household. I don't work 24/7 like I used to, and be so exhausted and just not being able to cope. And he doesn't work as much either. And really? Financially, we are just as good. So, yeah.
That sounds like, I feel like some kind of new math or something, right? Like that sounds impossible in a way. Miraculous, really. And you were just, before we got on this recording, you were just sharing about how gratifying it is to get those texts and things from your clients now, in a way that maybe, I know being a school teacher, that can be very gratifying as well. But interesting that you're gratification in your work and at home
Mm.
so much higher, as well as the marriage being so much better as well.
Yeah, well, it's great that I can be in a job. I know teaching's a wonderful job, but it didn't, it became something that was too overwhelming for me. So being able to do this business, being a relationship coach, a Laura Doyle 6 intimacy skills relationship coach is my passion, and makes me so much happier to be able to partner and coach women into having the relationship that they want. The vision that they have for their relationship is just so satisfying. And of course, because I'm happy, that's has that flow-on effect into my marriage. So
yeah, we have the best job in the world, don't we, Coach Angela? I
we
mean,
do.
not
It's
to brag,
incredible.
but maybe kind of is the best one ever. So thank you so much. And
You're welcome.
Coach Tess, you'll also be, how did you come to be teaching this workshop in New Zealand, the Empowered Wife Workshop?
Oh, Laura, well, it starts a long time ago, but just recently, Coach Kathy invited me to take the stage with Angela. And, this is just part of the amazing magic of, becoming a coach and also learning the 6 intimacy skills, because now I can, I'm growing into myself. Like, it's not only did I get to fix my marriage by becoming a relationship coach, but I also am growing into the woman I want to be, like stretching and, keeping on following my dreams. And honestly, I can just say, I feel so happy. I feel like the luckiest woman in the world. And, it's so here I am. I'm going to be with Angela and Kathy and 2 other coaches and all these beautiful women who are coming to New Zealand on the 16th of May to present your amazing work, Laura, where there's going to be so many amazing stories. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I feel blessed. I feel stretched, but I feel, this is the work that I feel born to do. I feel like, thanks to Kathy and you, Laura, that I'm in my element and I didn't know it. So
and that's saying something, right? There's nothing more terrifying really than speaking from a stage to a live audience, is there?
So true, Laura. And this is one of the surprising effects of working the skills, in my marriage. It's like changed my life, who I am. And, my husband said to me the other day, he said, Tess, I really feel like that I love you.
That gives me chills.
Yeah. So, what more proof can I need than that?
Yeah. And before he felt like he could never, like that was never the case, or he was struggling to make his case that he loved you. It was like it was never enough. Do I have that right? That's
absolutely, Laura. That was the pain in our marriage, was that I didn't know how to receive. I didn't, my husband really loved me. And that was one of the, our marriage was like a fairy tale because he just loved and adored me. And I didn't know all along, that I couldn't receive that love. I couldn't, because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't like myself. Of course, there were beautiful moments, but it was very vulnerable to receive. And you came into my life because you came into my Facebook feed, actually, and I saw the word intimacy, and I'd always been fascinated by intimacy because it scared me the most. And I just wanted to know how you can have intimacy and fun and laughter and connection in your marriage. I saw it, and I immediately got in touch with Kathy, who I just wanted to jump straight into coach training. I just wanted to go right there. So, and I did, and I had this call with Kathy, and even this highlighted my fear of vulnerability, because I was only on the call with Kathy for 5 minutes, and I said, Kathy, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I can't, I really just can't ask my husband to do this training because, we just got a house lot of curtains, and that was pretty expensive, and I've done other trainings. And Kathy said to me, oh, yeah, I hear you feel too afraid to state your desire to your husband. And I said, yes, Kathy, thank you, goodbye. It was like, I couldn't
hang
get
up
off the
fast
phone
enough.
fast
Yeah.
enough. I couldn't get off there fast enough, and I got off the phone, and yeah, she was just in my mind the whole time. Yeah, I just hear you're afraid you can't state your desires. And I really want to do this training. Everything you said, Laura, resonated with me. I hadn't heard of you before. I'd done lots of trainings, and I asked my husband, I texted him actually, because he was in another country, and I said, I'd really love to do this relationship coach training. It just sounds like my dream job. It's me, and I think I'll be really good at it. And my husband just texted back and said, do it. Oh my goodness, Kathy. See there, Kathy, there you go again, stretching me. And here's the skills. I'm being stretched. And yeah, what more can I say?
Yeah, it takes some courage. It takes some courage to honor your desires, certainly your desire to become a coach. But now you're a powerful coach. You just in fact, I've met some friends and relatives of yours recently from your part of the world through in coach training.
That's right.
Who have also been so inspired by your journey. So, and you'll be sharing the whole thing from the stage in New Zealand at the Empowered Wife Workshop, which is so exciting. And what are the dates for that workshop again?
The 16th of May, 2023.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got
Auckland.
it.
Yeah.
All right. So to hear the full version, everyone will have to come to your workshop to hear your version and Angela's whole story as well. There's much more, and then to learn about all of the 6 intimacy skills that we practice and talk about on this podcast every single week, which I think will be great. Yeah, and Coach Crystal, what are the dates for the Cherish for Life weekend? The party
in Australia. We're having Cherish for Life from the 19th to the 21st of May.
Got it. And how did you come to be leading this Cherish for Life weekend?
Well, it's a long story, Laura, so I'm not sure. I don't think I'll tell the whole story. It's too long, but I'm 43 now and I've been following you since I was 24. I had the good fortune of reading your Surrendered Single, and I just resonated with that book so much. I had all my friends reading it and I followed it to the dot, and it helped me to attract a man with so much character. And I don't know, my life would have been completely different without your book, because I might have ended up in a ditch with someone else, but I attracted the most beautiful man. And I also went and bought your Surrendered Wife, and I kept that in my bedside table drawer for many years, and every now and then I'd get it out. And I guess one thing I realized is that it's not enough to even just know about the skills. It's really about practicing the skills. It's because, I probably knew the skills and then I forgot them, and then I might have reminded myself and forgot them. And now I'm really conscious that it's a lifelong journey and it's an everyday thing. That I don't just get to the perfect marriage and I'm done. This is something every day. So for me, probably about 10 years in, we'd had kids and businesses and life got stressful and illnesses and all of that kind of real life stuff happened. And I found myself really unhappy, disconnected, lonely in my marriage. And I guess I blamed my husband for it. I thought he was not really affectionate enough towards me, and didn't give me the attention that I wanted. So there was a lot of just disconnection and loneliness, and I blamed him for it. He pointed out to me that it was hard to come close to me because I was putting out a resentful and prickly vibe. And that kind of reminded me of your book. And I had an awareness then, I thought I was the good one here, but I'm actually the one who's carrying this resentment. So it was a big aha moment, and that really inspired me to get back into listening to your podcast. They'd just come out, I think, and rereading your books and getting some coaching. And really taking responsibility for my own happiness, because what I realized was that I was trying to get my fill from him. And that's not, I had that awareness that I needed to start sourcing my own happiness. So self-care was a really big thing and was really life-changing for me. And yeah, so somehow then I did coach training and then came together with all these beautiful Australian and New Zealand women, and we're just such a close-knit group. I just love these women so much. We're just also, I just feel like, we're all best friends and we can't wait to be together on the beach and have a dance party and lots of self-care and be vulnerable. And it's just like this beautiful vision. And, we created this vision with Kathy. We had a meeting one day and she's like, "What's your vision, girls?" And we just all started sharing what we wanted. And yeah, now it's coming true and I'm super nervous and excited and everything. It's a big stretch, but I know it's a good one. And I've had resistance coming up, being scared, like, oh, I'm going to be presenting on stage. And I'm just like working through that and preparing for it to be successful and connecting and beautiful.
So I love your excitement about it too, that there's a beach and there's dancing. It's a party. It sounds like this Cherish
And
for
there's
Life
going to be
weekend.
meals, lunches, and yeah, all kinds of things. It's going to be so beautiful, so healing. It's like a healing weekend where we all get that self-care in and learn to transform our marriages. And there's so much suffering out there. I see so much suffering out there and it feels like it's unnecessary. If people just knew the skills, or daughters knew the skills young, we could prevent so much suffering in relationships and there could be so much more love.
Beautifully said. Absolutely. Well, I'm getting very excited about these events. This is really something that you're doing all this. Thank you so much for coming on this podcast and sharing about it. Coach Judy, you're also going to be at Cherish for Life weekend. And tell us a little bit about what you're looking forward to. Oh, you're still muted.
Bit of a cough there. At Cherish for Life weekend, what am I looking forward to the most? I think what Crystal just said. For me, I think it's like being able to immerse myself in all that incredible, beautiful energy that gets created whenever Laura Doyle coaches get together. Does that make sense? Like there's so much peace, so much joy, so much happiness. And then to be able to share that with the women in the room. Yeah. And I'm also looking forward to the fact that I've never in my whole life been to a weekend for 2.5 days with just women. It's always been, like mixed. So I am so excited about that and so looking forward to that. Yeah, can't wait.
There is something so nourishing, isn't there, about just being in the company of not just women. I mean, I know when we have the symposium, I always feel so spoiled because I'm in the company of women who are trained in the intimacy skills. So that's especially nourishing. But every woman that is coming to Cherish for Life weekend or the Empowered Wife workshop cares deeply about marriage, right? This is something we all have in common. So it really does attract some amazing women like you who once struggled in your marriage too. Right, Judy?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so grateful for the skills. Before I found your work, we were empty nesters, and our marriage had deteriorated into bickering and mini Cold Wars. I don't even know. It was such a slow slide. I don't think I was that aware of it until one day I happened to call in at work and I saw this man who was my husband laughing and joking and looking 6 inches taller. And then the end of the day, he came home and there was this different man walking through the door. And I thought, there's only one difference here, and that's me. Somehow, I'm part of this. Somehow I am part of this. And yeah, I had a bit of a background in some of this stuff, and I think I thought I knew a bit, but I went online and I found your book, and I just read it and just knew it was I don't know, it was genius for me. I just rang and said, I need to be trained as a coach. This is what I want to do. And I had no idea the impact it would have on my personal life. Like some of the other coaches have said, I went into it to help my marriage and probably to change him, looking back. But, you know, if he changes and he does that, then I'll be happy, that old routine, which never worked. But it has just been such a gift, such an incredible gift, to experience my personal journey and show up the way I want to show up in all walks of life.
Wow. And now on the big stage, the Cherish for Life weekend.
That sounds... Yeah. I mean, I'm like the others, excited and scared, because when I first met the skills and realized how powerful they were, I just thought, why doesn't everyone know? We have to tell everyone. We have to tell the whole world, and especially Australia. You know, there wasn't a lot of other coaches in Australia when I was certified, and now it's happening. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, we were talking about how there's something in the air in Australia earlier, right? That something is happening there.
Yeah.
And that's part of how this all came to be. And so, you were one of the first Australian coaches to certify, it sounds like. Was it?
Yeah, pretty close to it. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So just to be the only one certified in the country, and to look at the panel that we have now, and as Crystal said, we're all so close. We will email each other and go, I don't have the link, or I don't have that, or I think I've forgotten this, and somebody will jump on and support each other. And it's just been an amazing, I cannot believe the flow on. Sounds like an ad, doesn't it? Benefits. I thought I was doing a skill set to fix my marriage, and instead I was transformed. I have friendships now all over the world, and I get to coach, which is just the biggest gift of all.
Wow.
So thank you.
Oh, beautiful, Judy. Well, thank you. Thank you for being one of the first, and being willing to do all these scary things for the benefit of all Australian wives, all Australian families, really.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And Coach Peggy, how did you come to be on the stage at Cherish for Life weekend? Tell us a little bit about your story that you're going to be sharing.
Okay, well, I'll give you the very short version, because like everyone else, there's a lot to it, and I'll share a lot more at the weekend. But I guess where it all kind of started for me was, we'd been married for, I think, maybe 7 or 8 years, and had a few ups and downs during that time. But my husband, he has always struggled with stress and anxiety. And I remember we'd been away for a beautiful kid-free weekend and had an amazing time. And it was not long after that he said to me, I can feel it happening again. Like I can feel it creeping up. And it seemed to go in a cycle. And I thought, okay, we've been through this before. We can do it again. And I went into fix it mode. I thought that was my role as the wife. I was like, right, we can fix this. So, I was making him doctor's appointments and researching psychologists and looking at medications and, all of that sort of thing. And I just thought, if I can help him fight this, if we can, get through this, then everything will be okay. And I guess looking back now, I was very controlling, I thought I was trying to help, but really I was trying to manage him, and I thought that the problems in our marriage were because of his mental health. I was blaming him. And really I lived for, my husband and my kids. I didn't know that I needed to be doing more for myself. That whole self-care thing had just gone out the window, and I was lost and lonely. And it got to the point where I remember we went to marriage counselling. I dragged my husband along, and he's a good guy, so he came along with me, and he sat on that couch and didn't say a lot. But one thing that I do remember him saying was that, I don't feel like I love you the way that you deserve to be loved anymore. And that was pretty crushing to hear. And it wasn't long after that I think I picked a fight with him one night, just because I wanted him to talk to me. He just wasn't. There's like this wall was between us, and I thought, well, maybe if I can get him angry, he'll tell me how he's really feeling. So we had a fight, and I think at the end of that I said, look, this isn't working. I'm gonna have to take the kids and just go somewhere. I just didn't have a plan. I didn't know what I was going to do, but we just couldn't go on the way we were. And at the time we had 2 little kids, and I was pregnant with our third. And the next morning was actually Mother's Day. And he came in with the kids, and he had done some craft with the kids, and they'd made these beautiful gifts for me and bought me breakfast in bed. And I was just, in bed sobbing. And I got on my phone and typed into Google, my husband doesn't love me anymore. And your book was one of the things that I found. And I downloaded it onto my Kindle so I could start reading straight away. And that was, I think, the first time that I had found something that actually gave me some hope that I could turn things around. And I just, reading your book was like, oh my goodness, like why did I not know these things before, And I had a couple of really big apologies to give to my husband for the way that I had been showing up. And I realized how, I'd been walking on eggshells around him and trying to do everything to kind of make his life easier and sort of try and control his moods in a way, trying to, make sure that the kids weren't too loud or just getting too excited, because I knew that would set his anger off. And I just really was able to get back on my paper and go, okay, I need to do this self-care. I need to do some things for me. Mm-hmm. And that was where the change really started. And I think that the first apology I made was for, trying to control him and trying to fix him, I guess, trying to fix his anxiety and stress and everything. And I just, after I gave that apology, like I was pretty emotional and broke down into tears, and he just gave me the biggest hug. And I think that was the first time that he'd touched me in months. And like every day just seemed to, the more that I practiced the skills, the more hope I found, and the better and better things got. And then, I got into the community. I started with Ridiculously Happy Wives, and then I did Diamond, and then I signed up for coach training. And things did get worse. He did move out, and we went through a lot more heartbreak. But we're at the point now that he works away, so he flies in and out But when he's home, things are just so much more playful and happy, and there's no yelling. He's not that angry, stressed, disconnected man that he was before. And you know, I know that I can stay on my paper, and if he's stressed or anxious or whatever, that's on him. That's on his paper. I can go and do some self-care, and I can, go and play with the kids, and we can still have a good time. And he just does his own thing, and he gets over it, and then he comes back, and we all have a good time together. And, just recently he organised a weekend at the beach for our daughter's birthday. And, we took the kids to sea life and just played on the beach and had dinners out. And it was just amazing. Like, it was a dream come true to have that family time, because there was a time there where I thought we were just headed straight for divorce, and there was nothing I could do to stop it.
Maggie, this is such a gripping story, so vulnerable. Thank you so much for sharing. We got just a little bit of it. What has you be willing to get on a stage and share so personally about your marriage at the Cherish for Life weekend?
I think it's just, I've been listening to all of your podcasts since they started, and just hearing each woman's story on the podcast has just made such a difference in my own life. Just the hope that you get from hearing about someone else's transformation. I just want to be able to pay that forward, I guess. And, if my story can inspire even just one woman to delve into these skills and to save her own marriage, then it'll be worth it.
Beautiful, Peggy. Thank you so much. Very inspiring. Love that.
Thank you. I'm just so happy to be part of it.
Yeah, it is fun. It feels really good to be part of it, doesn't it? I feel the same way. And a name that keeps coming up repeatedly here is Master Coach Kathy, who is with us and has been, kind of a driving force behind all of this happening. The Cherish for Life weekend in Australia, the Empowered Wife Workshop in New Zealand. So, Kathy, how did you get here? What are you doing here?
It's a long story. Well, today I'll just say it's just a joy to stand for the greatness of these amazing coaches. That's how I got here, was seeing that my pay it forward job now is standing for the greatness of other women, sharing this work in the world. And I just expressed a desire to go to Australia, and I didn't know these women as well as I know them now, and I didn't know they had a secret agenda either, that they knew something was coming. So it was just the magic of this work, the magnetism of this work coming together in divine timing. And I'm so honored and grateful to be welcomed and invited with such open arms, and to stand for their vision of sharing this work with the women in Australia and New Zealand, and to get to witness them growing and sharing so vulnerably as a result of them being in coach training and getting to study with them and stand for them, as a result of my own 21-year journey of being a coach and saving my own marriage from the brink of divorce, and wanting to pay it forward and share my story about why I'm still here, because I can't not be with women like these women, and women who just find us. I'm inspired and reminded of where I once was and where I can easily go when I forget about self-care. And I'm so honored and grateful that you support our vision to continue the journey of Cherish for Life in the world, around the world, on behalf of ending world divorce.
And so I thank you for honoring your limits and allowing us to pick up the torch and carry it forward.
I'm just so excited that you are doing that. And I just love this part about that you still, I mean, you were one of the first people I ever trained on the 6 intimacy skills, to be an expert on the 6 intimacy skills. And you have led at Cherish for Life. You've been on this big stage at Cherish for Life weekends many times. I remember the first time you spoke at Cherish for Life weekend and told your story and spoke about vulnerability, and you were vulnerable on that stage. And that has done so much to keep me inspired and motivated and fulfilled too. So it's just a joy to see all that you're creating, all of you together. But Kathy, I know what a ringleader you are. So I just want to thank you and acknowledge you so big for taking it. I mean, we can't end world divorce without coaches in every country.
Right.
And today we're talking about New Zealand and Australia, and women from all over the world are coming to these events, not just the local yokels, but from I know we certainly have people traveling a long distance just to be a part of this event, which they all have all sold out. The last few we did all sold out. We expect this one to sell out as well. There still are some seats available. But Kathy, what are you most looking forward to about these events? You're going to be at both of them.
I'm going to be at both of them. Yes, just cheering these beautiful coaches on as they give their talks and welcoming all the women who are coming. And I'm looking forward to this adventure, to this witnessing, to this bringing back Cherish for Life. And like I said, meeting the women in Australia and New Zealand, but also having fun, seeing the culture, getting to meet these coaches that I have fallen in love with over Zoom. Like I feel like these are my besties in a lot of ways. The coaches all around the world that I get to meet and to get to hug them and meet them in person is just something I'm really looking forward to. And also all the women who are coming. I recognize the names on the guest list, and those that are still figuring out how to come, and to get to meet them in person is something I'll cherish forever. So yeah, looking forward to that, connecting and hearing those man panel questions too. And I got all excited as you mentioned that, Catherine. I think someone else's husband is going to be on the man panel that's here. Is that right, Peggy?
Oh, well, yes, he has said he's agreed that he will be on the man panel.
Wow.
It's such a brave thing.
I take no responsibility for what's going to come out of his mouth. It could be very, very amusing.
Yes, it will be amusing. They are amusing, right? There's a lot of laughter.
They're so
the
good.
man panel. There's like all these truth bombs come out, right? All the wisdom bombs, and you guys at Cherish for Life, you're going to also be playing the receiving game, I think, too. Is that right?
We are.
You guys okay with the bracelets? Were you? Yeah.
Someone's going to be crowned the Queen of Receiving
at the end of the
both
weekend.
events. Yeah, at both events for sure.
Both of the events. Okay. Which is this is where receiving really goes from being like an idea to concept to a habit, because you've been practicing it either all day at the Empowered Wife Workshop or for the whole course, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of the Cherish for Life weekend. So that, I mean, that's something I'm sad I'm going to miss out on, because I love the part where you get to bust somebody for not receiving. Like, you just got a compliment and you didn't receive it. Give me your bracelet. That's a little preview of what's coming up. So anyway, that'll be a good time too. But yeah. All right. Well, thank you, all of you, so much for making this time to get together and just give some little sneak previews of what's going to be coming up at the Empowered Wife Workshop and the Cherish for Life weekend. The Empowered Wife Weekend is the Empowered Wife Workshop is on May 16th. The Cherish for Life Weekend is the 19th through the 21st. There's still time to get your ticket to come in. We do expect it to sell out. So if you want to be able to sit instead of having standing room only, which often happens, then you'll want to hurry and register for that. Where can people go to do that?
lauradoyle.org/workshops.
That's where it is. Okay. Thank you so much, all of you. It's been an inspiring, wonderful time getting to spend this with you.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Laura.
Thanks, everyone.
If you'd like to be my guest on the Empowered Wife podcast and share about how you fixed a struggling relationship using the 6 intimacy skills, I would love to interview you. Just go to lauradoyle.org/podcast-guest to let me know that you are willing to make a big contribution to ending world divorce by telling your relationship story. I look forward to meeting you. That's lauradoyle.org/podcast-guest. Listen and subscribe to the Empowered Wife podcast. Next week, I'll talk about whether marriage counseling is worth it. In the meantime, I hope you're having lots of fun. Today's fun fact is that our new security camera alerts us when someone's on the side of the house. And now the #1 big breaking news show that we watch every day is John taking out the trash.